So when a lot of people see anime and probably see a clip of it on the internet or somewhere, they might just think it's entertainment, comedy, action, which is fair. But the more you actually sit with these stories, the more you realize that there's something different happening in each one, and it's not just action and fantasy. It reflects real human issues like fear, oppression, and morality. Some of the things you may see aren't even that new to you. They're just show to you in an animated form, and the more you pick up on the pattern, the more it'll be easier to understand what most of these stories are trying to say to you and give you a lesson about. For example, when you look at a show like One Piece, you see, fighting, traveling, and searching for treasure, but that's simply just the surface level. Underneath that, you can see that there's a consistent theme throughout the story, which is freedom versus control. In the world of One Piece, there are systems of authority that decides whether someone has power, is restricted, or gets to live freely. And what's funny is the main characters of the show aren't just chasing their personal goals to find this treasure. They're stepping into situations where they have to help others who already had their freedom taken away from them escape and help them, get away from this higher authority of power. It's also very interesting how strongly people connect with these themes in real life, even in public discussions or debates. Symbols of One Piece show up where people express feelings like frustration and the willingness to change or want to change certain things that they don't agree with. And this is where One Piece, becomes very influential in real life and how it reflects real world issues and how some people actually use One Piece as a symbol for that. And I'm not saying that fiction directly controls real life. What I'm saying is fiction reflects emotions that people have already felt and dealt with in real life. And this is where that strong connection between real life and fiction really comes into play. Another example being Attack on Titan, where we can see that at the beginning, there's people trying to survive against these giant humanoid creatures. We basically know how it goes. And that's a fair assessment, a survival story, a horror story. That's fair to think that way, but the more the story goes on and the deeper you go, you start realizing that it's more about fear and how different sides view one thing differently and how they're taught to fear things they don't fully understand. And there's a constant idea of us versus them, and what's important is how naturally that kind of thinking develops inside the story. I can use the two groups inside of Attack on Titan for example, like the Eldians, which are the people who believe in the power of these titans and that it was a divine blessing by their god, Ymir. But on the other side, there's Marlians who believe in total dominance and uh, expanding their power and having control over the Eldians, seeing them as just devils and evil. Which you can see how that kind of reflects real life in a way, in history, and how some people just automatically assume some people are bad and they don't respect what they respect, and they automatically just want to attack and control them. So even through a fictional lens, you can still see that there's messages and important messages that being conveyed for you to understand, not just for entertainment purposes. We can even go back to One Piece, where there are beings called Celestial Dragons, where they're the highest authority in One Piece, and they do numerous things, and they're even hated by fans and the people in the show alike. How they own slaves and how they abuse their power as these things. And there is some outliers, but that's a rare few of them. That's another connection to real life and how you seeing how these stories reflect in ways of some people believe that they are just superior and a superior race than other races inside of a community and inside of a world alike. So you can see that big connection and why some people resonate with One Piece and some people may not, but they understand what the story is conveying. These, like both of these shows, are asking similar questions. What does fear look like? What does control look like? And how do you react when your world feels unfair or unsafe? These aren't just fictional questions either. These are questions that have been asked throughout history and even today's society. So when people just say that anime is cartoons, they're missing something, which I still believe that it's okay for you to say that because there are different genres for different reasons, but it's okay to consider that sometimes some shows are deeper than what they may appear on surface level. But that's basically what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, that's all.